Welcome everyone to another week, another episode of the Focus TV. This is season 6, episode 44. We got Octavia White here, Raymond Lyons, Carlo Dudley Jr. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Now let's get to it. We're going to start in the NFC East this week. Octavia is back, so I do not have to stumble through her segment this week.
Oh man, the NFC East is doing NFC East things. We're at that pivotal point of the season now where we have passed the trade deadline. Some of the teams in the NFC East did a little bit of bargaining, a little bit of trading. There's one team in particular I'm about sick and tired of them sending all types of stuff to the conference rivals and stuff, but we'll get into that later. I figure it's easiest to start with the worst game of the week. Like, first of all the games are on at the same time. So to see me trying to flip back and forth between everything on different screens and then having to get to this game, like, do I really have to watch this? The New York Giants played against the New York Jets, and it was probably one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life. The New York Jets defeated the Giants 13-10. Tyrod Taylor was 4 of 7, 8 yards, 5 carries for 33 yards. Tommy DeVito, whoever he is, was 2 of 7 for -1 yards, 4 carries for 12 yards, but a rushing touchdown. Saquon Barkley, I guess he was the only person really on the team this week, had 36 carries for 128 yards, 4 receptions for 5 yards. And Darren Waller had 1 reception for 4 yards. I guess kudos to Saquon Barkley because, he's really, outside of him, and there's like one other kind of bright spot that you can talk about for them in this game. It's a career high in carries of 36 yards. They finally broke a streak of games without a 100-yard rusher. Again, like I said, he eclipsed the 100-yard rushing mark for the first time since week 10 last season. And all for nothing to still lose has gotta pretty much suck. Even when they were pretty much in control-ish for most of the game, if you want to call it control. But to give up a late field goal to tie it and go into overtime. And then I don't know what the offensive strategy was. Tyrod Taylor did get hurt. He got his ribs injured, which is kind of weird for him because that happens a lot to him. We all know about what happened to him in LA when he was punctured in the ribs and all types of stuff. So he actually had to go to the hospital and was released later, which then brought in third-string quarterback Tommy DeVito, who was also only 2 of 7. So to think that they only threw the ball 14 times in the game, and yes, there was, if you want to call it torrential downpour, was raining for a majority of the game, which is why, of course, Saquon Barkley had a lot of carries, but still, 36 is a lot. There were 24 punts in this game. That is, I don't know who wants to watch that. It's like, and I can't really say it was like awesome defense. It was just like terrible offense. So they just had to keep kicking it to each other and see who could do the worst. And at this point, unfortunately for the Giants, they did the worst. Kayvon Thibodeau probably had his best game of the season. And again, for somebody to have their best game of the season and still lose definitely sucks. He had a sack fumble in the game's opening drive that led to 3 points. He had 2 sacks later in the fourth quarter. He now has 8.5 sacks for in 8 games and is on pace for 18 sacks for the year. So I guess for them, it's nice to see him kind of coming around when it comes to that. But everything else was just just a complete fail. The kicker Graham Gano, who we've seen be pretty reliable for most of his career. He missed 2 kicks, 2 field goals. He missed a 47-yard in the first half and then a 35-yard in the fourth quarter, marking the 3rd time in 4 games he's missed at least 1 kick. It was just bad. Like, I don't even know where to go from here. They have their wide receivers, tight ends are doing nothing. Darren Waller got injured again, hamstring again, but apparently it's not the same hamstring injury that he's already been nursing for this year. It's just a debacle. To go from being coach of the year and Brian Daboll to this is just crazy. The only bright spot really for them coming into this week is Daniel Jones has been cleared for contact after his neck injury. And it couldn't come at the perfect time with no Tyrod Taylor, and nobody wants to see Tommy DeVito not throw the ball. So we'll see what happens. Again, we did talk about how the trade deadline has come and gone past at 4:00 today. The New York Giants were involved in some trades today. The New York Giants traded defensive lineman Leonard Williams to the Seattle Seahawks. In exchange for Williams, the Seahawks are sending a 2024 second-round pick and a 2025 fifth-round overall pick to the Giants. So, I mean, hopefully they use it on. I don't know what they're going to use it on at this point because I feel like every year they use it on the offensive lineman. I could say they could do that again, but they need a lot. Poor Saquon has to pretty much shoulder everything and not get paid for it. Is kind of crazy. But they'll be playing against the Raiders, who also is not having a good season. I don't know if y'all watch Sunday Night Football. I fell asleep at halftime because it was ridiculous. I know those 49er fans are saying this is the Jimmy that everybody said was okay. Not looking like it so far. So yeah, that they'll play against the Raiders next week. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know who's gonna win because they're both bad, to be honest. Next we'll go to the interdivision game that happened this week with the Washington Commanders against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Washington Commanders 38-31. On the Washington side, Sam Howell was 39 of 52, 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 3 carries for 11 yards. Brian Robinson Jr. had 10 carries for 59 yards and 2 receptions for 20 yards. Jahan Dotson had 8 receptions, 108 yards for 1 touchdown. Jamison Crowder had 7 receptions for 95 yards and 1 touchdown. Terry McLaurin had 5 receptions for 63 yards and 1 touchdown. And Logan Thomas had 6 receptions for 44 yards and 1 touchdown. On the other side for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts was 29 of 38, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 carries for 6 yards. DeAndre Swift had 16 carries for 57 yards and 1 touchdown and 2 receptions for 7 yards. A.J. Brown had 8 receptions, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 7 receptions, 99 yards, and 1 touchdown. And newly acquired Julio Jones, 1 reception, 8 yards for 1 touchdown. I mean, to say that both defenses were kind of abysmal is just an understatement. I try not to get too hype about it because I will always stand on the fact that I believe these two teams in the division always play each other tough. I don't know what it is. It's always against them two. And then like it is for like the Commanders and the Giants. Like the Commanders just lost to the Giants 2 weeks ago. So it's always crazy in the division. And I'll be honest, outside of the Cowboys, really, like the Cowboys usually never struggle with the Commanders or the Giants. And then, of course, they have their battles with the Eagles where it can go either way at times. But they always seem to play each other really, really tough. It's already been said if Sam Howell could play against the way he plays against the Eagles against other teams, it would kind of be a no-brainer on what's going on in Washington. But for whatever reason, he can't. I don't know what it is. But he had a very good game. He made some really good throws. The secondary for the Philadelphia Eagles is being picked apart. Trying to be devil's advocate and be on the bright side or glass half full versus glass half empty type situation. The secondary is still getting used to each other with newly acquired Kevin Byard from the Tennessee Titans, who are our best friends. They give us good things. We love them. So that Blankenship really still coming back off of injuries. Bradbury has not been playing well this year. Slay's been playing decently. And then rookie Sidney Brown has been playing really, really well. So I just don't think the secondary has any type of continuity because there's literally been so many different lineups back there. But that's something they definitely need to get together. I've definitely said that the secondary has been the Achilles of the team all year. But now with hopefully competent players, you need some more time. Even after this week coming up, they'll have a bye, so that gives them a little bit more time. Hopefully it gets together because the Philadelphia Eagles are going to go through a gauntlet in the next 6 weeks. So I might be here, I might not be. We'll see. The other thing is I don't know really what Ron Rivera is doing. I've said it recently this year, he just looks so disinterested in what's going on that it's kind of weird. And it seems that this happens a lot in this game against these two. Devontae Smith always gets a questionable catch, and for whatever reason, the Philadelphia Eagles are able to get up and go fast, so they can't challenge it. That happened again in this game. I'll be the first to say it was clearly not a catch. Devontae would probably say it was clearly not a catch as well. But they got up, they ran the play, and the Washington Commanders were not able to throw the challenge flag, to have it reviewed, and that actually led to a touchdown, a very much needed touchdown. So kind of confused on why that happened. Also kind of confused at the choice to put Emmanuel Forbes in on AJ Brown all the time after being benched a couple weeks ago, and it pretty much started the last time they played against the Philadelphia Eagles. He just wasn't having a good outing, and he didn't play too many snaps this game, but it seemed like every snap he played, they put him on AJ Brown, and I don't know why. So he's definitely having a very, very hard year. Speaking of AJ Brown, I mean, he's just been immaculate. He broke the record for most consecutive receiving games with receiving yards of over 125 yards. He had 130 in this one with 2 touchdowns. And I mean, he has some amazing catches. I think he said 2 of the touchdown catches, the separation was 0.5 and 0.6 yards. So, I mean, they were literally draped all on him, and it did not matter. Jalen Hurts was able to put the ball in a place where only AJ could get it, and it paid off. Devontae also did some great things. The only thing for me that was really concerning is that the Philadelphia Eagles weren't able to get to Sam Howell. We've seen the offensive line for the Washington Commanders be horrible, but for whatever reason, they're amazing against the Philadelphia Eagles. Sam Howell, I don't even think he was sacked in this game at all. No, I take that back. He was sacked at the end of the game with Hassan Reddick, who pretty much put the nail in the coffin at the end. Yeah, so it was just a lot going on. Again, speaking of the trade deadline, the Washington Commanders were definitely sellers today, and they got rid of Montez Sweat, who was definitely somebody that has been on the chopping blocks that they've been talking about all year. He's coming up to be a free agent next year. And you think they're not going to be able to afford him and Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen and possibly Chase Young at that point. Montez Sweat has been traded to the Chicago Bears for a 2024 second-round pick. And that is it. I mean, I've been thinking a little bit more, but maybe not. Speaking of his counterpart in Chase Young, he was also traded. The Commanders are trading defensive end Chase Young for the San Francisco 49ers, who I'm like, at this point, what else do you guys need? Jesus Christ. But I digress. But yes, he has been traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a 2024 third-round pick. I mean, they're just giving these players away at this point. The Philadelphia Eagles have already seen Chase Young twice this year. Now it looks like they're probably going to see him for a third time once he gets out to the San Francisco, as they'll play later on this year. On the other side of it, with the trade deadline, we did talk about Kevin Byard, who was traded last week. He played his first game this week. They also did trade defensive lineman Kentavious Street and a 2025 7th-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons in exchange for a 2024 6th-round pick. Ever since defensive lineman for the Atlanta Falcons, Grady Jarrett suffered a torn ACL, they're looking to, of course, beef up their defense a little bit. And unfortunately, we have some defensive tackles to spare. But yeah, for the Eagles, another thing they want to work on as well as their red zone offense. I mean, everybody just kept talking about the Bradley shove, the tush push, undefeated. Oh my God, the Commander stopped it. I don't really think they stopped it. Jalen just fumbled the ball. I think he's already up to 10 turnovers this year, which is ridiculous. But they're able to still find a way to win, and that's always a good thing. But again, with the gauntlet that's coming up, can't happen. The Philadelphia Eagles will play against the Dallas Cowboys Sunday at 4:25 in Philadelphia. So basically an early primetime game. 4:25 in Philadelphia doesn't happen. It's usually 1 o'clock. It's going to be a show. It just is. They have multiple games coming up. They'll play the Cowboys and they're going to bye. Then they have the Chiefs, the Bills, the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Cowboys again. So it's going to be really, really tough. That bye week is going to be so precious for them. And then for the Washington Commanders, they're going to be playing against the Patriots on Sunday at 1. Last but not least, again, talking about having to flip between all of these games this week. This was one I flipped to, and then I was like, oh, I ain't even got to watch this. Jesus Christ. The Dallas Cowboys played against the Los Angeles Rams, and when I say annihilated, they pretty much annihilated them. The score was 43-20, but it was like 33-3 in like the second quarter. Dak Prescott was 25 of 31, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception, 4 carries for 19 yards. Tony Pollard had 12 carries for 53 yards, and 1 reception for 2 yards. CeeDee Lamb had a day, 12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 carry for 12 yards. Brandon Cooks, 3 receptions for 49 yards, 1 touchdown, back-to-back weeks with touchdowns, and 1 carry for 3 yards. And Jake Ferguson had 4 receptions for 47 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, he was amazing. All the talk in the offseason and the previous seasons about if he can be a 1. I mean, he's showing it pretty much almost every game. As long as that can get him the ball, I don't really think there's going to be an issue for him. He entered the week with Prescott completed 81% of his passes to Lamb, the second best of any quarterback wide receiver duo, and with at least 30 attempts. Lamb had 12 catches, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns for his second straight 100-yard game, in his 5th game with 10 or more catches. He tied the franchise record with Miles Austin for 4th most in team history with Miles Austin. And I mean, he did it quickly. Like I said, it was 33-3 very fast in this game. In just the first 2 quarters, Lamb posted 9 receptions for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. Inside, outside, slide, wherever you wanted, he was there. And it was just a dominant day for him. The Rams could do nothing for him. On the other side, the offensive line probably was, if you want to pick a weak spot, would be the only weak spot. But of course, they're missing Tyron Smith, who did not play in this week. I think he was a late game scratch with a stinger in the neck. They're hoping to get him back for this week. Hoping they don't. Take some time to, rest a little bit. But that, with him being out, Prescott was sacked 3 times, including 2 of the first 3 snaps. It would have been 3 if it had not been for a Rams penalty, which was directly because of the replacement for Tyron Smith. That replacement also got injured in the game, so third string had to come back in. So they're, a little bit banged up at offensive line. Dak definitely has to use his feet a little bit more, which I think he's starting to do. After the game last week, not this previous week that just happened, but the previous week, he's starting to move around a little bit more. So I think he's doing well. The only thing is just that I feel like with the Cowboys, it's either they win by a whole lot or they lose by a whole lot. I'm interested to see how it's going to go down when they kind of get in more tight games. The decision making, not trying to be a hater or anything, but I think they can. I don't want them to, but I think that they're capable of doing it with the personnel that they have. With the exception of the Chargers game, every contest has been by double-digit margins, both sides. So either they've won by double digits or they've lost by double digits. But yeah, as long as they get their pass protection together, Michael Parsons is going to do Michael Parsons things like he always does. Does not surprise me how great he is. And, this game was open and shut case from beginning to end. DeRon Bland has been playing out of his mind, another game with a pick 6. So we'll see if he gets picked on or not next week. It's just going to be a time. So yeah, the Dallas Cowboys will be playing against the Philadelphia Eagles again in Philly. It's going to be a game. They didn't do anything at the trade deadline, so we don't have anything to mention for them, which is, I don't think is surprising because Jerry has said a lot this year that, he's kind of content with the hand that he has and that he just believes in, the team that he has. So we'll see how next week shakes out. Hopefully I'll be here. If not, you know what happened.
All right, man, come on to the Wizards. Ray, what you got for us?
Yeah, we're in a familiar place with this team. They are allergic to defense. They played Boston. Well, they showed up to the arena for a game against the Celtics. Only the Celtics actually played. Yeah, it was just embarrassing from beginning to end. Boston started the game off. They just wanted to show everybody what it was immediately. The score was 42-19 at the end of the first quarter. Jaylen Brown was doing whatever he wanted. Boston just bullied them, and defensively, they just made the Wizards look like a JV high school team. The way they were trapping them and just throwing them different looks, um, they just look confused, look like they never seen a press before. I mean, Boston's a great defensive team. They got length, athleticism, and they got guys that can really strap. But have some pride, man. You're a professional as well. It should never look that easy. And then just you know, having Jordan Poole and Kuzma on the same team, it's going to provide for some hilarious moments, and not in a good way. The score was, I think, Boston was up like 15 at this point. Jordan Poole casually just kind of dribbles the ball around, turns his back, turns around and launches a three. Porzingis blocks it, immediately runs down to the other end, sits down in front of the rim. They dish it into him. He gets an easy layup. It was just child's play, man. And, I just don't see how you can be laughing after a game like that. But, that's kind of where we are with things today. I mean, it's from, you could tell from on the court that there's not much concern there. So, but on the serious note, man, they just got to be better than this. Like, they got some new blood upstairs. They're not attached to anybody. They should have seen the writing on the wall when the first thing that happened as soon as the ink dried was they got Bradley Beal up out of here. Typically when you see the main guy shipped out, that's a wake up call. And Kuz had talked about, having his opportunity to be a leader and what have you, but I mean, you got to actually lead, bro. You can't just do it in words. So this is gonna, he talk about what he wants on his next contract. This is gonna dictate that, like what you do in this moment. Like nobody's expecting the Wizards to compete for a championship, but you can't be out here like this. Even in they beat Memphis over the weekend. Even in that game, they had a healthy lead, and just one stretch in the third quarter, and Memphis had completely got back into the game because the Wizards were undisciplined. They weren't able to take advantage of the situation, and they found themselves in a dogfight unnecessarily. If you're gonna be the guy and say you're the guy, then you got to prevent that type of stuff from happening, man. And it's just gonna constantly be a uphill battle with this team until they decide to act like professionals. But yeah, that Boston game was ugly, and unfortunately for them, they got a tough stretch coming up. Yeah, this thing could could get out of control really quickly. I know that seems extreme to say 2 weeks into an 82-game season, but we've seen this story before. When things get off the rails early on, just frankly speaking, I don't believe they have guys in the locker room that can weather that and turn things around. That's just is what it is, and that's evident from not only what's been going on in the early part of this season, but what we've been seeing the last few years. Some of those guys are gone, but some of them remain. And they just got to shape up, man. It's it's not much strategy to talk about today because what we saw against Boston was just a complete lack of effort, and it was just frankly embarrassing, man. And we always say like effort should be the baseline, like that shouldn't even be an option, but apparently it is. So until they cover the basics, man, we can't even get into strategy and analytic stuff because I mean, especially with this stretch they got coming up, they can easily lose 4 games in a row, and and then we were having another conversation. Maybe they have another head coach sooner than expected. So like that's stuff you got to think about. Guys' jobs on the line, for the players, potential earnings are on the line, because nobody's going to give you money when you're out here looking like this. So hopefully next week, man, it's not it's not such a dismal report, but they got some work to do, and we'll report what they give us to report. We can't make it up, so hopefully we have some have something positive to talk about on Wizards Outlook. We can get in playback, and hopefully they give us a reason not to want to cut the game off early. But yeah, man, it based on last night's effort, man, it's not looking too good.
They got quite a ways to go. You can only go up from there. We'll see if they can go up. Like you said, got 4 tough games coming up. For those of you that are Wizards fans and you check in every week with us, please follow Focus TV on social media. That way you can make sure you get the playback links, the Wizards Outlook links, everything that you need to make sure you're aware of our coverage with the Wizards. We're going to take our first break. When we get back, got a quick Maryland update for you guys. Then, we're going to see what Cardell has for us in rapid fire. I think I know like 2 of the topics. After that, I don't know. But, folks, sports definitely, as usual, they don't fail. Rapid fire shall be fun. You're watching Focus TV. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to the Focus TV, college basketball exhibitions, the exhibition portion of the season already for teams. We're getting closer and closer to like the opening curtain, starting on those non-conference schedules and whatnot. Maryland women's basketball, they had their second exhibition game, which took place this past weekend against East Carolina, which they won 76-66. The contest was also a charity game to benefit the Special Olympics of Maryland, Prince George's County, be specific. Jakia Brown-Turner led the way with 15 points and 3 steals. Cheyenne Sellers scored 9 of her 14 points in the fourth quarter to go along with 6 assists. Lavender Briggs finished with 11 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists. And Faith Masonis had 11 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. As for East Carolina, Amaya Joyner led the way with 12 points. Sanaya Johnson and Danae McNeil had 11 apiece. Much of the reason that game was close, Maryland did not take care of the ball. 23 turnovers is far too much. I'm sure it's something Brenda will be discussing with the team this week as they officially get things going Monday night when they host Harvard at home. We're going to take our second break. When we get back and get into rapid fire again, you're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Cardell, the floor is yours. What you got for us this week with rapid fire?
Yeah, we're gonna stay on the NBA side. I'm gonna start with the hometown team. Washington Wizards on the Ted Leonsis. Sat down for a pregame show over the weekend, talking about the last few years of the Wizards and the season and the future moving forward with the new management of new front office, so to speak. He has some interesting things to say, and here's the full quote so y'all can fully understand what's going on. Quote, when we first started talking with Michael Winger and then Will Dawkins, it was we need a long-term team. I want to be good. So what do we have to do to get there? There's not going to be an easy, straight path, and we have to be patient. So I'm looking for development. I want to be able to see signs of this strategy coming to life. And I'm also wanting to see the players that want to play here and really appreciate the fan base. We'll work hard, appreciate being in the NBA, and want to be a part of something that can become great. Being fun, I think, is very important. We're in the show business. I do think we have very, very intelligent fans, and they want to see really good basketball. I want to see really good basketball. You got to play both sides of the ball. Repeat, you got to play both sides of the ball. First night, we scored a lot of points, but we let in too many points. I wasn't happy to see us fall into habits like we did last time, but it was to be expected. When Denny Avdia is your most tenured player on the team, you know that you've got a big change in personnel. We have a lot of new coaches. But what I do like is that everyone is on the same page, that we have a lot of young players, a lot of new players, and we want to incrementally improve and step up. where we end up 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road, the team won't look the way it is today. Maybe we'll have some players that stick with it and break through, which would be fantastic. But this is going to be a journey, and I think the fans will welcome it because we want to see progress. We want to be competitive. We want to be in the playoffs, but we want to be able to compete for championships. To be honest, I feel like I failed the fan base the last 3 to 4 years because I didn't see the upside. So we had to make these radical changes. Octavio, what do you have to say in regards to what Mr. Leonce has stated on the state of his team, past, present, and future?
I mean, he stated the obvious. It's been abysmal for a while. I think it's always nice when people are very, frank and honest and not sugarcoating anything and not trying to, placate the fans. I do think it's nice when they say that I've let the fans down as well, because it definitely starts from the top, of course. So for him to acknowledge that is always a good thing. But at the same time, it's just like, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Washington. But if I was a fan, I would be like, I'm tired of hearing this. Like, I need to see action. And just like you just said, he's saying the things, but it's not trickling down to the actual players. If he's talking about how we need to play better defense, I mean, you guys have been talking about that for like the past 4 or 5 years, it seems like. And it's not getting through to those players as well. So while it's nice to hear him acknowledge those things, it's like, I'm all about, like, show me, like, although I do believe that they're starting to maybe get in that role, because like you said, letting go of Brad, moving on from Kristaps Porzingis as well, trying new things, but it's been tough because, there's been some times where they've had some pretty decent draft picks, as far as what number in the draft to pick, and it just really hasn't hit for them yet. And it's been a long time since, the Washington Wizards have been anything to write home about. And I mean, if you really want to say probably the last bright spot was the one season Russell Westbrook was here, and he was able to basically drag them to a play-in tournament. That's kind of disheartening if you're a Washington Wizards fan. And then it really sucks for the whole area as well, because I was just thinking the other day, like, granted, the Washington area sports teams haven't had a lot of success recently, but if you think about it, the Mystics have won a championship, the Caps have won a championship, the Nationals have won one not that long ago. We know what's going on with the Commanders, and it seems like they're trying to get things turned around finally as well. So it's like, the Washington Wizards, kind of got to get on board with that as well. So, I'm hopeful for them, because that's really all you can do at this point is hope that they're able to get it together. But it's nice to hear him kind of be candid about it and kind of just speak what I think a lot of people have already been thinking anyway.
Right.
Yeah. This is probably going to be taken for hyperbole when I say this, but I swear to God, it's not. Like, this might be the first time I've ever actually heard him speak and came away feeling like he actually cared about what's going on. It felt like it was a hint of embarrassment there, which it very much should be, because this has been embarrassing every day since John Wall left the building. Yeah, it would have been nice to see him touch on that as well. But we're not going to get into that today. But yeah, man, like it's good to hear it coming from the guy in charge that signs everybody's checks. So, maybe that would create a sense of urgency around here, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, he's correct. It's been terrible, and something needs to change drastically. But yeah, it's as far as on the court, it doesn't look like the words are sinking in. So, I don't know, man. Maybe this is the start of the turning point. Or maybe he's just over it and will quit and get somebody else in here who can actually yield the results that he wants. But if Ted stays on and he's able to lead Washington into a new direction, I welcome that as well. But yeah, he's right. It's been horrible around here the last few years. It's no other way to put it. And yeah, they need to do something about that.
Wilson.
Yeah, it sounds like that dreaded A word hit, or started to hit, or at least be accepted. It sounded like it was good to hear some accountability. And also, the first thing came to mind for me was I was wondering, like, clearly, owners got to sign off on plans anytime someone's hired. This new regime, I'm wondering what type of, how clear in terms of their communication. I've never heard him talk about the defensive end of the floor. I don't think ever. So, that's just me. For me personally, it sounds like someone where maybe this group's come in, they've been very clear and direct in terms of what they want, what they expect, right? What they plan on doing. And I think maybe finally he's heard it. And maybe that made him look at what's happened thus far. Because everything he said is honest God truth. And he left several big parts out. I think we all know that. There's several parts that were omitted from this grouping of words here. But I also think maybe it lends support to I'm also behind the new regime, which goes to the whole thing you guys been talking about already. Is like, bro, they're not tied to anybody here. No matter what you're getting paid, they're not tied to it at all. It's a lot of flexibility here. So everyone has something to prove. So yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes. Maybe it does end up being a changing point, as Ray mentioned, but it's a heck of a start at least versus what we heard when someone else, one of a player in your franchise who did some things here and was cast aside and name rolled through the mud on their way out to this. It's a start amongst many other things.
Yeah, one thing. With Ted did relinquish control basketball operations. He basically just cuts the check now. Winger Dawkins, they running everything. They just pretty much relayed a message to him before, they officially make the move. Obviously, with him being owner of the team. With that being said, when kind of at the end of the 10-year with Wall, and a lot of DC area fans was like trade Wall and all that stuff like that, and y'all know my temperament was like, be careful what you wish for. This team hasn't had a lot of success over the years. It's been pockets. Obviously, the glory days of the 70s, none of us were around for that, so we don't know what that was about. We just know they won and they was competing for a few more championships. Then you had Rod Strickland, C-Webb, Juwan Howard era for about a few years. That went away. Then they got Gil and all those guys, Karan, Anton, they had a run. And then the next run was John. Truth be told, the run with John Wall was the most successful since the 70s. Y'all, they were knocking on the door of an Eastern Conference Finals berth a couple times. The Gil teams never even got close to that. You gotta appreciate that. You can't take that for granted. It's not like this is Boston or LA where the championship and winning is commonplace. He took on the challenge. He inherited a franchise that was in shambles because of what the last guy did. And he took on the challenge at 19 and delivered. He was hooping all-star, perennial all-star, all-NBA, did all that. But when you kicked him out the door, and you couldn't knock it because he consistently did things off the court where they was like, leave it alone. He was injury prone, massive contract, new contract was coming up. I get his business. You didn't have to kick him out the door the way you did. So to me, the state of the team is a little bit of karma. And the reason why you keep saying we can get some players here that want to be here because no one wants to be here. They saw how you treated the last guy that left it all on the floor. Not saying everything Wall did was perfect. But when he stepped between the lines, you can say he gave everything he had. All you could do is respect that. Because the guy that came after him, once he left the building, he didn't give everything he had. They didn't have nearly the success. He couldn't even lead them to the playoffs. You got Russ on one leg for half a season that did that. And this was a pit stop. So I feel like through all of that, through dealing with all that, Ted finally saw I could have handled some things better. And that's all you have to do. You wouldn't even have to put that out there, even if you was pissed. You could have kept that to yourself. And you wouldn't be dealing with all of this. So it could be a thing where it's similar to the Cowboys, where a lot of fans feel like until Jimmy Johnson not Jimmy Johnson, until Jerry Jones do right with Jimmy Johnson, make amends with that, they'll never win. You know what I mean? Look at the proof of it. It's hard to argue. It's been 30-some years, basically. You see what I'm saying? You don't want those problems with the Wall situation. If you want players to come here and play for your organization and respect you, stuff like that, you gotta treat guys that leave it on the floor better. Because guess what? They're friends with John Wall, and they see how you did it. I'm not going there. I see how it goes. So that's another thing. The last thing I'm leaving on. What took you so long to realize you gotta play both ends of the floor? You've been owning the team forever. Oh, you was listening to them number boys you hired with the last GM. Okay, I get it. That's why they all needed to go. And a lot of them did get let go. When this new regime came in, it was big changes. You know what I mean? We know this year gonna be rough, but the tone I get from this regime, they're not gonna just sit around and let it get too far. People will be gone. People will be gone. They will really just start a youth movement and start development. You feel what I'm saying? So, look, they giving guys chances. That's all I'm going to say. People killing Poole, rightfully so. I'm just saying, it makes sense. Some people even starting to apologize to Draymond. I'm not going to go there. That's being petty. I'm going to leave that alone. But my man, he got to get better, man. He got to get better. Just because it's projected to be a bad team, don't give you the right to come in here and just do whatever you want and just take horrible shots and stuff like that. Like, that's not being a pro. You know they're horrible shots. Like, that Porzingis shot was disgusting. It was just disgusting. I can't tell you how many text messages I got on the home. Like, people just like, what was he thinking? My man's 7'4". I'm like, you got to ask him. You know what I mean? It just made no sense. And you wonder why y'all got blown out the way y'all did. So it's refreshing to hear Ted obviously self-reflect as an owner. Because think about it, put yourself in his shoes, and this was your team, you cutting the shakes, you own it. I mean, it'd be tough to show your face around the city because you're a failure. Like, I mean, come on, man. You had a pool of all the owners and stuff like that. I mean, only thing he can hold his head up about is domestics, and that was a few years ago. And it can't be current because the Aces running things now. So, yeah, it's tough. It's some humility, but at least he knows, and I think it started even before these comments. It started when he relinquished full control and gave it to Winger and Dawkins. That's the first sign of him saying, I'm going to take a step back and just be the owner because I clearly don't know what the hell I'm doing. So let me have somebody run the basketball stuff, and I'm just going to do what I do, cut the checks. And you got to respect that. So at least it's just, like I said, self-reflection, some real talks to himself behind the scenes, and he's coming to this conclusion. Now, they got a draft right. I think that's the only way you're going to start attracting free agents. You really got hit on these draft picks, man. You really got to hit. Like, these guys I like Koulibaly's potential, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about guys coming in that's ready. You see what I'm saying? John Wall was ready. He was ready to go after 1 year. You need a couple of those dudes, and then the free agents will start looking at DC, and then you'll be on your way. But you got to draft, and we'll see what they can do. They come from the Clippers and OKC. We all know what they did, drafting different people. Even before Kawhi and all them, the Clippers, they drafted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Young, and all those guys. OKC, we all know what they've been drafting the last few years. So, they come from good back pedigree and whatnot. So we're going to see what it is, man. Staying on the NBA side, we all know it was a big trade while we were asleep. The Clippers land James Harden in a trade with the Sixers. The Sixers sent Harden, PJ Tucker, Philip Petrusev to the Clippers for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, KJ Martin, a 28 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a 29 pick swap, and an additional first-round pick from OKC. The Clippers are sending a 27 first-round pick swap to OKC, clearing the way for the Thunder to move a protected 26 first-round pick to the Sixers. Sources said the Clippers are sending a 24 and a 29 second-round pick to the Sixers in the deal, too. The Sixers will also waive, if they haven't, veteran guard Danny Green to create a roster space for the trade. The Sixers are bringing back expiring contracts that keep them on track to potentially have as much as $50 to $65 million in salary cap space next summer. Also, The Clippers cannot, I repeat, cannot extend James Harden. He signed a new 2-year deal in the summer of 2022. Harden is not extension eligible. He will be an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 2024. Ray, your thoughts on the trade and the aftermath of what could possibly come?
The Clippers deserve whatever happened to them. I just don't understand. James Harden got 9 basketball lives. Like, he's shown you time and again what he's about, and people are still willing to give up assets to have him on their team. For what reason, I have no idea. But it's going to be interesting. Good luck, because boy, you know, I just don't see the logic in it. His style of play doesn't really fit with their team. Do I think James Harden is excited to go be somewhere and be the 3rd or 4th option? And we already know he's non-existent on the other end of the floor, and they're starting off the season struggling defensively. And to add him into the mix, whatever, man. It ain't my call to make. I don't have to live with it. I just get to watch. I got a supersized bucket of popcorn, and man, let this not work out, and people gonna have to duck and hide, man. Because oh boy, but yeah, I was shocked when I woke up and saw it. I thought, once it didn't happen, prior to the season started, I just assumed that teams were being intelligent, but obviously not. So we get to see James Harden at another stop. Yeah, how long this continues, I don't know. But yeah, man, like I said, good luck to the Clippers.
Wilson.
Yeah, I feel like this is like the last hurrah for this group of Bombers team, like the PG Kawhi group, where folks been waiting for things to work. We know health wise for various reasons they both haven't been on the court as much as anybody would have liked to this point. I think for the Clippers, I think they were happy because people were talking about multiple reports that they didn't want to include Terrence Mann in the deal, which is maybe why it took so long or what have you. I guess they got to keep Terrence Mann, which is great for them if they continue to keep him, whatever they decide to do. Yeah, I kind of understand, like, maybe you just wanted a facilitator, but like you went and got Russ and seemed happy with Russ. So I'm quite confused, but I'm with Ray. I'm just gonna sit here quietly and watch it happen, but just know, like, you're similar to the place where Phoenix is, where, like, if it doesn't end with confetti, you know what comes on the other side of that. And yeah, I don't understand. James Harden has to have like Kirk Cousins level agent. Like, I don't know how this keeps happening, dude. Like, agent Hall of Fame type activity. Like, I'm disgusted, appalled, and then how the hell does he keep getting away with it? How does the agent keep sweep? Like, he hasn't lost a trade request. No matter what he does.
Octavian.
Yeah, this is basically kind of like sickening at this point. Kudos to the Sixers for getting rid of the cancer. They didn't want him around anymore. They told him, security politely escorted him from getting on the plane at the beginning of the season. So, I mean, they did what they needed to do to get rid of him. So that's fine. I just, for the love of me and the life of me, can't understand what the Clippers want with him. I don't understand how it fits. I mean, before he got there, I already felt like they were already kind of, in my opinion, top heavy because they had a lot of pretty decent players that will probably start on other teams coming off the bench. Like the Norman Powells of the world. Like Norman Powell's just like chilling over there. And it's just like, I don't understand why. Like, so now you're going to have James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Russell Westbrook altogether, I mean, a lot of them need the ball. James dribbles the ball a lot. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I don't know what the appeal is. And then to make it worse, he's closer to LA and the city life. He's definitely not going to be focused. I don't understand it. And like you all said as well, like I don't know how he's continuously getting away with these trade demands and the way that he acts when things don't go his way. And not being a professional, like I don't look at him as a professional when it comes down to the business aspect of the game. And we know he's not the same player as he was early on in his career. So I really don't see the appeal for the Clippers. Maybe they see something I don't, which is definitely possible because they get paid to and I don't. But I don't get it. I don't understand why I would want that on my team. It's just kind of baffling to figure out what the sale is on him. Like, what was the want behind James Harden being on their team? But congratulations to Philly. They got rid of him, and then somebody else's problem now. And like you also said, the Clippers get everything they deserve at this point. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Harden, obviously. But we also got to keep things in perspective as far as the reason why he's gotten away with it so much. Who's been at the center of all this stuff? Daryl Morey. He don't have that no more. You know what I mean? Think about it. He traded for him from OKC, signed him to Houston. Daryl Morey was the GM. When he wanted to leave Houston, Daryl Morey traded him to Brooklyn. When he wanted out of Brooklyn, Daryl Morey gets the job with the Sixers. Hey, come on back with me. The common denominator has been Daryl Morey. You don't have that no more. And the sacrifice he made, he lost about $200 million. And he will be an unrestricted free agent. He's going to act good. He's going to act straight because he understands he's not stupid. He's going to understand this is it. He act like an ass with this team, not only with Ty Lue and then guys that they got, especially if they're healthy. They don't really need this month. Like, you can go. Mm-hmm. And they're not on the books for because, I mean, my man, you are unrestricted free agent anyway. We can't sign you anyway. So this is just a rental. And what people don't know what goes on in the league, sometimes teams will trade and get a guy just so another team won't get the guy. And then we got our hands, we're trying to be that team. It's another team in LA that was rumored to try to get him. So they got him, that boosts their team, and they keep the other team from getting it. So I think with those guys there, and we all know Ty Lue ain't for all the BS. You know what I mean? He just not. The Kawhi and Paul George sent out, that wasn't something obviously he can control. And obviously that's a higher up type of deal, with the front office talking about, yeah. But as far as if James won't come in there with that BS, I can see Ty Lue like, my man, you can go. Like, for real. We ain't even dealing with this. You're not messing this up quickly. And he knows he has to hoop to try to recoup at least some of that money he lost, because this is his last hurrah. And with the new CBA that just came, you either on the max side or you on that minimum side. Ain't no in between. So he could BS if he want. He gonna be playing for Kelly Oubre money moving forward, and then what? Then you don't have no leverage. And he don't have an ally because nobody in the league is gonna rock with you. So if he messes this up, what no other team is gonna take that chance with this fool. See what I'm saying? So it's not more so about rewarding him. It's not more so about rewarding him. I just think the Clippers will try to go all in and try to make this run for the chip. And I honestly think because he has to act right, he'll fit in fine. We all know he can shoot, spot up threes. And the one thing in the playoffs, when he comes up short, he won't even get that chance because the ball is going to be Kawhi and Paul George hands. Now, Russ, that would be the interesting thing. Does James Harden lead the bench mob? Be you, James, you lead the bench mob and leave Russ in it because Russ been hooping. So why disrupt that chemistry? And once again, James, you ain't got a pot to piss in right now, bro. So you're going to do what I tell you to do. You run the bench, you be the sixth man, go back to OKC ways and do your thing. Then maybe as you build chemistry at the end of the game, maybe in playoffs, you might finish the game with guys You see what I'm saying? With your shooting, spacing the floor, your playmaking will make things easier for Paul George and Kawhi to close games out. You see what I'm saying? So it's definitely work. But it could be done. It could be done. To me, if James acted fool with this, man, it's time for him to be out the league. It's just done. Like Carmelo style, no disrespect. Yeah, like what happened to him? He got to go. So, I think he understands what it is. But I am with y'all. It just sucks that in a way it does look like this guy just keeps getting rewarded for being on bullshit. I get it. You see what I'm saying? And it definitely sets a hella, crazy precedent. And then think about it. He just signed with new agents this summer. So that's why he angry. You fire your agent, get new agents thinking you could try to, get more to squeeze the money. But I really think it wasn't even more. I think the new owner of Sixers was like, hell no. Y'all saw what happened in the playoffs. Why the hell I'm gonna give him $200 million? And he older. And he can't stay out the clubs. And he don't show up in the playoffs. So all this stuff with people talking about, look at the numbers he put up in the regular season. His caliber play is not judged off the regular season no more. What are you giving me in the playoffs? And in big games, I just remember Tatum destroying him and Embiid in the fourth, sending them boys home. I just remember that. So, and Brown jumped in too. And then Brown got the money that Harden was hoping to get. And Tatum's coming up next, he going to get the same thing. So, if not more. So, in a way, James paid a hell of a price. That's $200 million. He never gonna get back. You see what I'm saying? So he better act right just to be able to recoup some of it, man. And we gonna see. It's gonna be interesting, man. But yeah, it just sucks, man. And these fools got to go. I'm with you, Ray. I saw your tweet, man. So these fools, I'm just ready for these dudes to just roll because it's just too much soap opera stuff, man. But like I said, he don't have Daryl Morey to help maneuver all these things no more. That's gone. He done burnt that bridge. So good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving on. Definitely gonna stay on our basketball side, but we're gonna move to the high school, college side of things. Cooper Flagg, top prospect in high school and a favorite to be the #1 overall pick in the 25 NBA draft, announced his commitment to them Dukies. Flagg shows the Blue Devils over Wilson's UConn. Duke was seen as overwhelming favorite since the early days of Flagg's recruitment. Coach John Shire, can't lie, Shire began to done on the recruiting trail since he took over. No, even before that, even when he was assistant under associate head coach under Coach K, he's been getting it done. Made his presence felt at Flagg's games, even when Flagg was playing on the 15 and under Nike EYBL circuit, and continued to be a staple at his games last spring. Coaches from UConn, Kansas, Kentucky, and Michigan also spent time watching him this past summer. Yeah, I know y'all seeing the highlights now. I know y'all seen it all over social media. Wilson, we're gonna start with you. What do you think about his commitment to Duke? Hey man, look on the bright side. Y'all in the mix again. It was a long time.
Oh, look.
You would never even get a visit from us.
Look, when I tell you I was at peace, when they said it was the final two, I was happy, period, because it meant like we're back.
Yeah.
We're back. Like, it's okay. You can choose Duke. Like, this one of the ones where you can choose Duke. I'm not even mad at you, man. Have a great career. Have fun if we see you. Hope to hand you an L so you hate us for life like Trajan Langdon and them. And then we can go on. We good. I have no issue. It's all love. But kudos to John Shire and Duke. Like, if that's up there, you go out, you get one. That's what they pay you for. They want to get back to where they feel they belong, right? It's a hell of a step and get back to that direction. And I think this is one of them dudes where they went to Duke or whatever, man. Kid's special. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to watching him play, regardless of the jersey he'll be playing in. So yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, like you said, this definitely wasn't like a gut wrenching thing. It was just like, hey, if he chooses, it's love. If it's not, like, how can I be mad, man? Just won a 5th chip. Like, it's cool. Like, go crazy. It's fine. It's okay.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Cooper Flagg is a great player. Watching him earlier this summer at this EYBL, seeing him play against the Boozer twins and everything, like, he's legit. So It doesn't surprise me at one bit. It will surprise me if he's there for longer than a year, which I'm pretty sure we all don't think he is, because I think he actually reclassified to actually kind of get through this process a little bit faster. But yeah, doesn't surprise me. Just interested to see how, once he gets to Duke, how the season looks, because Duke is also looking to get back. They've had some not so good outcomes against their rival UNC recently as well. So I'm sure they're ecstatic to see that. I think that's really what I take away from it. I have a lot of friends from college who are in North Carolina, so the rivalry between Duke and UNC is real. So as soon as he opted to commit to Duke, I saw it all over my timeline. So the Duke fans are happy. The UNC fans are upset. I'm pretty sure other schools are as well. But I'm just interested to see, the career he has there, and what happens, after college and his potential career in the NBA.
Yeah, that UNC Duke thing funny. I just saw the new ESPN Tatum commercial, and he got from the little photo, and the mascot gave him a little shoulder jump. That was hilarious, man. But go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, first of all, that commitment pick was crazy. They probably should have rethought that. But yeah, no, but that's a huge gift for them, man. But I don't think anybody should be surprised. Like, he's the most dookiest player to come around in a very long time. So, but yeah, no, seriously, man. Like you pointed out, Cardell, John Shaw, man, he's been doing a hell of a job recruiting in recent years. And hopefully for them it pans out into a championship and getting them back to that level where they were. That's a tall task, man, because of course Duke is one of, if not the most storied program in college basketball. But yeah, man, it's good to see that, a player his caliber going to a program of that caliber. It just, put some excitement back in college basketball. It's honestly just getting kind of watered down with all the transfer portal type stuff and NIL and all that. It's kind of getting away from what actually matters, and that's on the court. So it's just good for the sport, to see a recruit like that go to a program like Duke. The coverage is going to be insane. Hopefully he does well there and beyond. So I'm just excited to see him get to work.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not hoping they win a national championship or nothing like that, man. For that, you know what I'm saying? It's all, look, I grew up a Terps fan. It's always gonna be like the hell with them dudes, man. But basketball wise, he's special. Even seeing him just shoot last year play, I was like, I kept saying to them with the first pick. It's just he got it all. 6'10", athletic, 3-level scorer, can defend multiple positions. Wingspan well over 7 feet. He has all the tools to be a franchise-changing prospect, man. And, Duke kind of already has one. Filipowski already there. He'll probably be gone. Man, and if by a miracle he stays in this cage on, so good Lord, man, it's going to be bad. You know what I mean? So, it's good because I'm a fan of just guys that are just, you could just tell different, like kind of like Wembanyama. He's not on that level, but he's super talented in his own right. And normally these kids in the last few years have been going to the Ignite program or the NBL over there in Australia, so to speak. And he with him kind of going to college the traditional route, that's even better. That's good. It's competition. Look, man, we all know what's waiting for the kid. All he needs is a little seasoning, get there and bang with some more older players, learn the ropes a little bit, get taught, and then he's straight to the league, man. I honestly think if the rules in place where you didn't have to go to college, I think he would already just make the jump. He would just have to grow in the league because he's special, man. He could really do it all. And before him, I think the best play out of Maine was a guy in my high school class, played on the AAU circuit, Nick Cantor Medley. He played at Maryland. He was the best guy. And Cantermelli was a problem. Matter of fact, he just retired, like 16, 17 years overseas or whatnot. This kid, yeah, he's better, he's bigger, could do everything Cantermelli could do, but he kind of got the more guard skills. With Cantermelli was more of a forward. So it's gonna be fun, man. I just like to see the competition. The rivalry is gonna be the rivalry. Tobacco Road. It's gonna be interesting to see who joins him, who's still there. By the time he arrives on campus, man. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a show because in that class, he's definitely the favorite to be the number 1 overall pick. So all eyes will be on him. You know what I mean? But it's just good for basketball because we got to get back to like Ray. I agree with Ray. We got to get back to what's going on the floor instead of all the other BS surrounding it because it just takes away from the enjoyment of the game. It's on you, Wilson.
Oh, all right. Well, we want to thank y'all for tuning in, man. Can't wait to see what happens in sports by next week. On every level, rapid fire should be fun once again. Because then some of the things discussed tonight, we will have seen some of those things in action by next week. So looking forward to that. It's been a fun first week or whatnot, 2 weeks of the NBA season. Clearly, it's very early.
College starts next week.
Yes, sir.
College starts. I think GW play Monday. Yeah.
So they're Monday too. So yeah, it's officially here. That time of the year when all the sports are going. It feels like it's officially here. So with that, we will leave you. For Octavia, Ray, Cardell, myself. Y'all have a great week. We'll see y'all next week. Don't forget to get over to thefocustv.com. Follow the Focus TV on social media. It's the best, easiest way to keep track with us each and every week. This airs every Wednesday between 9 and 9:30 on our Roku channel. If you have a Roku television device, all you have to do is type in the Focus TV in the search box, double tap OK, and you've added the channel. All right. See you guys next week.